Guys, I just want to talk about God today, and I don't know who needs to hear this today, but I need you to know something. God sees you. He sees what you're going through. He sees the pain you don't talk about, the burdens you carry in silence, the moments when you feel completely alone, like nobody understands and like nobody cares. We've all been there, right? And if you've ever thought, where is God in all this? You're not alone. We've all been there. There are days when life feels unfair, when you've done everything right, but things still go wrong. When you've prayed, but nothing seems to change. When the weight of it all makes you wonder if God is even listening. But let me tell you something. He hasn't left you. He hasn't forgotten you. And even in this, He is working. Pain doesn't mean you've been abandoned. One of the biggest lies people believe when they're suffering, and it's so easy to feel this way, is their pain means God has turned His back on you. Due to this struggling, due to this hurt, due to feeling lost, you think somehow God must not care, right? I mean, it makes sense. But it couldn't be further from the truth. Just because you're walking through a storm doesn't mean He's not there walking through it with you. Think about it. Some of the strongest people you know, the ones who have the biggest testimonies, the deepest wisdom, the most unshakable faith, they didn't get there because life was easy. They got there because they kept going. They pushed through. They survived things they never thought they would. And guess what? You will too. God's plan is bigger than the moment you're in now. I'll say that again. God's plan is bigger than the moment you're in now. I know when you're in the middle of suffering, it's hard to see past it. It feels like all of this pain is just permanent, right? But it's not. You have no idea what's being set up for you behind the scenes. You don't see the connections being made, the doors getting ready to open, the way your pain is actually positioning you for something greater, right? See, we often want God to remove the pain instantly, to fix it right now, to take away the discomfort, to take away the struggle, to take away the uncertainty. But sometimes, instead of removing the storm, He strengthens you to walk through it. The reason for that is because there's something on the other side of this that you need to step into. And you can't step into that without going through this season first. Life is about valleys and peaks, and most of the time, we're spending our life in the valleys, unfortunately. But you're not weak for feeling this way. And I don't care how strong you are, how much faith you have, how positive you try to be, there are going to be days when you break. When the weight of life feels like it's too much. When you don't have the energy to pretend everything's fine. And that's okay. That's okay. You don't have to have it all together. You don't have to be strong all the time. God never asked you to carry this alone. You can be tired, you can be frustrated, you can even be angry. But don't let those feelings convince you that you're losing this battle, because you're not. Every single time you wake up and decide to keep going, even when you don't feel like it, that is strength, my friend. That is strength. Every time you cry, but you still choose to believe things can get better, that's faith. Every time you push through one more day when everything in you wants to quit, that's proof that God is carrying you, even when you don't feel it. God's help is already in motion. Now, I know what you're thinking. If God sees my pain and has a plan, then why don't I see anything changing? And here's what I need you to understand, right? Just because you don't see with your visual eyes, that doesn't mean he's not working. He's not moving things. Sometimes God's help doesn't come in the way we expect. It doesn't always come as a sudden miracle or an overnight change. Sometimes his help comes through, I don't know, a random conversation that gives you that exact encouragement you needed. Or even an opportunity you never saw coming. Or maybe you overhear somebody talking about exactly what it is you're struggling with. A sense of peace that shows up out of nowhere on a day when you need it the most. You may not realize it now, but everything you've gone through is shaping you for something greater. Everything. The pain, the waiting, the disappointments, the lessons, it's all connected to something bigger than this moment, bigger than you, for your highest good. Your story isn't over. I know some of you feel like you're at your breaking point, and I understand. I feel like I'm there every day, honestly. Like you're one setback away from giving up. But listen to me. You have made it through 100% of your worst days. That's a good record. 100% of your worst days, you have made it through. And you're still here. And if you're still here, that means God isn't done with you yet, okay? This is not where your story ends. There is joy coming. There is breakthrough coming. There are better days ahead of you that you can't even imagine right now. And when you get there, when you look back on this moment, at this time, at this period, at this point in your life, when you can't see how you'll get out of it, you'll realize that everything you went through was shaping you for what's next. But you have to hold on long enough to see it. Keep going. I know life gets heavy. I know it's hard to keep the faith, keeping the faith when nothing seems to be changing. But don't give up. Don't lose faith. God sees your pain. He knows what you're going through. And He has already set things in motion to bring you through this. It won't be like this forever. Better days are ahead. Your breakthrough is coming. Just don't stop now, okay? Keep going. If this message spoke to you today, please drop a comment below, share, like, subscribe. I want to know what it is you're believing in for. What is the reason for your season? What's going on in your life? And if you need a reminder to keep pushing forward, again, please hit that subscribe button, because honestly, at the end of the day, we're in this together. And remember, your story isn't over. Keep going.